What's up? We got Arrow Season 3, Episode 19, Broken Arrow. So this episode starts off with a guy it starts off at Central City Bank where we see a metahuman. We see a metahuman, but weird that metahumans are now in the city, but yeah, I guess they couldn't be in Central City, so they decided to go to Starling. So they break in. They break into a place. So yeah, with Roy now in custody and now being labeled with the Arrow, everyone thinks that Roy Harper is the Arrow, but Quentin, he's still a little suspicious. He still thinks that Oliver had something to do with it. So Oliver's just like, hey, he's gonna break Roy out of prison. He's gonna break Roy out of prison. And so Sia decides to visit Roy in prison, and he says how he didn't want Thea. He suggested Thea not see him in prison. Yeah, he suggested that Thea no, not see him in prison. Not see him in prison. And yeah, so not see him in prison. So she leaves, and so she leaves. So with Barry, so Quentin decides to bust in, and since there's no Tommy to help them cover it up, Quentin discovers the Arrow Cave below their basement. Even though I thought that, below Verdun, even though I was led to believe that it's not Verdun anymore, but still is. So they decide that since Barry's off dealing with the Eobard Wells thing, or Dr. Eobard Wells / Dr. Wells thing, they decided to call in, and he can't be. They decided to call in Ray. Oh no! But actually, Ray's actually good in this episode. That's the only thing that I'll compliment him on, because I'm still not a big fan of Ray. Not a big fan of Ray. I'm not a big fan. So yeah, Ray's in prison when a bunch of inmates attack him. A bunch of inmates attack him. So Quentin's like, dude, you could just, if you just leave, you can, if you just let Oliver Queen in jail, you can, get out of here. But he's like, hey, he deserves to be in prison after what happened to that cop at the end of season 3, at the end of season 2, episode 20, when Mira Crew and Juice Roy killed that cop with the arrow. So he thinks that he deserves to be in prison. When Quentin calls the guard, the sound buzzes, but it shouldn't. So this is an error. So Roy decides to go fight that metahuman who is later called Deathbolt, so I'm going to call him Deathbolt for the rest of the review. He goes to fight Deathbolt, and loses hardly, because Ray is the worst. But that's not why he loses. He loses because he tries to blast the guy, but Deathbolt's like, thanks for the topping, and blast him. So Sia's like, we got attacked, and Quentin tries to scrummage through the air, through Thea's apartment, saying about how through Oliver's apartment, Thea's apartment, saying, and Pike's like, hey, you're good, dude. We got the right guy. and you're now captain. You're doing good. So don't lose your captain. Don't. So yeah. So as he leaves, Thea shows up and she's like, "What are you doing here? Get out of my apartment!" And he's like, "Thea, did you know that your boyfriend was palling around with the Arrow?" And she's like, "Get out." So then she gets a call about Roy. And she goes to Oliver, and Oliver's like, and she's like, "Oliver, Roy got defeated in prison," but he's like, so he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go save Roy," but Diggle's like, "Don't do that," and he's like, "Get out of my way, Dig," and he's like, "Slow your roll, Ollie." And he's like, "Slow your roll, Ollie." So they get into a big fist fight. Actually, not a fist fight, but yeah. So he's able. So Roy gets killed in prison, or fakely, because yeah. So he gets stabbed and bleeds out, but he doesn't die, because why would they kill off my new favorite TV child? My new TV child of the show. And it's revealed that the guy who killed him was actually one of Lila's Argus people, and they laced their necks with blockers that make blood to make it look like they died, but they didn't really. So Roy Harper is dead. So Roy has to skip town and never come back. And Felicity says, "See you later, Scarecrow," as a Wizard of Oz reference. So yeah, and then who shows up? Butter. And yeah, so Felicity is it. So back to the Deathbolt thing. Felicity decides to put herself as bait, and then Oliver decides to control Ray and fight Deathbolt. But they're able to lock him up at the Pipeline in Star Labs, where Cisco and Ray are, and Ray's like, "Hey, if Deathbolt was in another city, in another part of the city, when they were testing Particle Accelerator, how did he get his powers? He wasn't even in Central City when he got his powers. So when the Particle Accelerator gave people their powers, so how did he get his powers? It's never explained. It's never mentioned again. I think he shows up again, but this whole how he gets his powers thing is never brought up again. So I'm just gonna leave it. So yeah. So then who shows up? But Ra's al Ghul, and he decides, and Ra's al Ghul, and she's like, does she know who he is? And she's like, the demon. He's like the demon's head. And she's like, "What do you want?" And she's like, "Oliver's never gonna take your place at the league." And he's like, "Oliver's not gonna ask. He's gonna beg for the title." So they fight for a bit, and then Roz decides to kill Thea. Yeah, he kills her, and I think then just leaves. So Thea is presumed dead, because that's where the episode ends. Roz kills her, says something in Arabic, and then just leaves. I hope Oliver finds her, because Felicity was Thea was actually getting good as a character. So Roy's fakingly dead. Thea is presumed dead. 2 dead characters. Actually, yeah, 2 fakingly dead characters, because Roy's fakingly dead because Thea does think he is, but he's fakingly dead. And I'm just like, show? Let me gasp, show, because gasp, show, because this is crazy. This is a crazy situation. Roy's, so yeah. Yeah, they don't even mention how Deathbolt got his powers. He just did, and it's not from the the particle accelerator. So how the dark matter explosion? So or the particle accelerator explosion. So how did he get his powers? It's never explained. I'm guessing this takes place after the Flash because they mention how Barry is doing something with Dr. Wells. So I guess it takes place after the last episode of the Flash. And how did Felicity even get to Central City anyway? But did Ray fly her? Like, you know, she said she drove there, but how did she drive there? I'm just guessing. But anyway, that was Arrow season 3 episode 19, and I'll see you next time.